Good morning, class. Today, I am very excited that we're going to be starting our medieval time period unit. So, I thought to get us excited for this unit and to also gather some interesting facts and ask some questions about the medieval time period, we would look at some fiction books. So, here we have a couple of books that are about the medieval time period, and the one we're going to focus on today is The Inquisitor's Tale over in the bottom left by Adam Gidwitz. But before we start, we first want to go over what we're going to need today. So I would like you to grab a pencil, grab your copy of The Inquisitor's Tale. Please take out your reading journal, your vocabulary journal, and please check inside your monthly paper packet to find your KWL graphic organizer. You can pause the video until you've got all of that ready to go, and then we can join back in. Okay, now that we have all of our materials together and we're ready to learn, we're first going to start with our brain blast activity. So please take out your KWL worksheet, and for the next 5 minutes, I've got a timer right here that you can click on, or you can set a timer on your mom and dad's phone. For the next 5 minutes, I'd like you to brainstorm or free write what you already know about the medieval time period. So we're going to use that K section of our KWL worksheet to talk about what we know already. I will see you in 5 minutes. All right, everyone, excellent work. So now that we've kind of laid out what we already know about the medieval time period, I want to explain why we're going to use fiction books to gather facts before we're going to read a nonfiction text about the medieval time period. When we read fiction texts, we can be exposed to new vocabulary, so new words that we haven't encountered before. We can be exposed to background information about the time period. We can get some context for the facts. So, context would be what else was going on outside of the scope of the story or outside of the facts that we learn that help us to understand the facts a little bit more. And the one thing that I would like to really focus on today is generating questions about the medieval time period using these fiction books. So, even though everything in a fiction book isn't true, right? That's the definition of fiction. There are some aspects of the fiction books that are helpful when we're trying to learn facts. So today, what we're going to focus on, we've already filled out our K section of the KWL worksheet. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to read a part of the Inquisitor's Tale. And as you read it, I'd like you to fill out the W, what I wonder. And in that section, you're going to keep track of any questions that pop into your head while you read the story. I want to briefly talk about the kinds of questions that we can ask as readers. So, the first level or the beginner level would be questions like who is that, what is that, where are they, when is this, right? What happened first, second, or third? Who are the characters? What is the setting? What is the problem? If we go one level up to that level two, we can call it a detective, right? We ask more questions like why and what caused this. We can make some predictions. We can ask ourselves what the author means when they write something. And we can say, why do you think something happened, or why do you think the author included this fact? If we go one level up to the third level, we're going to see these judge questions. And these are questions like, do you think? Would you agree? In your opinion? How did you feel about? Would it be better if? and how do you know? So you can see as we go up, the questions get a little bit more complicated. At the fourth level, the highest level of questioning that we're going to talk about is the inventor. So we're going to take the text and say, what would you do if you were, or what might happen if? So I'll take that last question and I'll say, what might happen if I was born in the medieval time period? And then I can go ahead and answer that for myself. Well, maybe I would have been a princess. Maybe I would have been a peasant. But I'm asking a deeper level question about what if something changed? So when we go through our questions, I'd like you guys to focus on including at least one question from either this detective, judge, or inventor section so that we can really focus on making our questions a higher level question. Make sure to keep track of these questions, again, in the W section of your KWL worksheet. Also, at the end of class for your homework assignment, you are going to fill in what you learned from the book. So that also is up to you if you would like to fill that in as you go along. But you're also going to be paying attention to vocabulary and facts as well. So here is our assignment for the day. I'd like you to set a 30-minute timer. And again, I have the link here, or you can set a timer on a timer that you have at home. I'd like you to read for 30 minutes The Inquisitor's Tale. Do your best reading, and as far as you get, that's perfect. As you read, I'd like you to come up with at least 2 or 3 questions about medieval times and make at least one of them either a detective, judge, or inventor question. I'd like you to also, in your reading journal, start a new page with the heading Inquisitor's Tale Facts. And there you're going to list any facts that you're able to pick out in the Inquisitor's Tale. And finally, I'd like you to also have your vocabulary journal handy. In there, you're going to list any words that you read that you haven't seen before. If a definition is provided, if they tell you what the word means, I'd like you to write that definition next to the word. If they do not tell you what the word means, I'd like you to just write it and put a star next to the word on the left, and we'll come back to those in our next lesson. Before our next reading class, I'd like you to take the L section of your KWL worksheet and write at least 4 things that you learned from the Inquisitor's Tale. After that, I'd like you to upload a picture of your KWL worksheet to the class reading discussion board thread, and I will comment and we can have a little chat about what you learned and some of your questions. And then also head on over to the vocabulary discussion thread, and you can list any words that were not defined. So they did not tell you what that word meant, so that we can go over those words next class. As always, if you have any questions or if mom or dad has any questions after today's lesson, I'm available to FaceTime. So just email me at this email address below, and we can set up a time to talk face-to-face about the lesson and any questions that you might have. And if you just want to chat about something about the lesson, if you have a question you really want answered or anything like that, please feel free always to email me with any questions.